Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Cumberland School Committee special meeting. I'd like to everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Denon had the microphone. He's in the sky with it, I guess. Okay, now. Again, thank you for attending. Section 3, approval of the agenda. Pleasure of the committee. I don't think we have any approval of the agenda. But I need that done. Second. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Let's make for the record that Chairperson Lisa Bolio and Linda Teal are not present at this meeting. Personal recommendations. Mrs. Fogel?
Hi. You can hear me, right, if I talk here? All right. So I have the following personnel recommendations. I have 2 resignations for you. I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the resignation of Elizabeth Coogan, building administrator at Cumberland Hill Elementary School, effective November 9th of 2015. And the advice and consent of the school committee on the resignation of Sandra Lynn White, secondary science teacher at Cumberland High School, effective November 17th of 2015.
Thank you, Mrs. Fogel. So we have 2 recommendations.
I have appointments as well if you want me to do those. Those are all coaching appointments. They were in your drive.
Mr. Mitchell, you recommend that we take these all at once?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just read through the coaching appointments for you. So I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the following winter coaching appointments. Boys varsity basketball, Gary Reedy. Boys junior varsity basketball, Kyle Landry. Girls junior varsity basketball, Andrea Harnois. Boys varsity track and field, Thomas Kenwood. Girls varsity track and field, Vanessa Malloy. Girls junior varsity track and field, Joshua Lima. Varsity ice hockey, Mark Andriozzi. Junior varsity ice hockey, John Higwin. Varsity wrestling, Steve Gordon. Junior varsity wrestling, Colin Smith. Cheerleading, Rachel Powell. Middle school boys basketball at McCourt, Laura Marcolini. Girls basketball at McCourt, John McNeil. Wrestling at McCourt, Andrew Gibbons. Boys basketball at North Cumberland Middle School, Jack Madden. And wrestling at North Cumberland Middle School, Steve Borman.
Thank you, Mrs. Fogel. Pleasure of the committee on the recommendations.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Second for discussion. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Fogel. Discussion and/or vote to approve elementary school principal employment contract. Superintendent Mitchell. Yes.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm sure that everyone is aware that things have been a little difficult at Cumberland Hill School over the last 7 to 8 weeks, given the circumstances with the principal there who's having issues, as you all know, with certification. Luckily, we had an assistant principal, Deb Malcolm, at community school, who we asked to take over there as the interim administrator while Ms. Coogan was attempting to resolve the issues related to certification. And I can tell you, as the superintendent, that things went exceptionally well at Cumberland Hill. Absolutely no issues. Things went incredibly smoothly during what I believe was an unsettled period of time. Once we learned about the former principal's circumstances and her resignation, we immediately supported the appointment of Mrs. Malcolm Hill School. So I can tell you that I've had an opportunity to meet with all of the teachers there to explain the circumstances leading up to this point. And one of the things that really stands out for me is how the faculty responded when they all heard that Mrs. Malcolm was going to be appointed the principal of Cumberland Hill Elementary School. So I think, despite the fact that it was a difficult situation there, I think anyone who knows Deb Malcolm knows that she has a tireless work ethic, a wonderful sense of humor, and a determination to do well herself. She has high expectations for herself, and she has high expectations for her staff and the students in Cumberland Hill School. So it is with great pleasure that I recommend to the school committee that you all support the appointment of Deb Malcolm as the principal of Cumberland Hill Elementary School.
Thank you, Superintendent Mitchell. Any comments from the committee? Mr. DeMonica?
Mr. Chairman, this was heard in finance earlier. It was approved on a 3-0 vote to do a 3-year contract with Mr. Malcolm, and I would move approval.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Any other comments from the committee? Thank you. I'd like to say a couple things. Mrs. Malcolm has been with an educator in the district for 15 years? 20 years. Over 15 years that would have covered me. Whenever I mention Mrs. Malcolm's name to any other educator or anybody that knows her, it's always reflected with a positive intuition, which makes me feel very comfortable. I like that. I'm getting very positive input from PTO members, from parents, and even from some students that go to JJM. And that's where my kids have passed through there as well. We just came from a health and wellness meeting, and Mrs. Malcolm gave us an update that I'd like to share with a couple of you guys here that I was impressed with. Cumberland Community Schools, 580 students. Ms. Malcolm had helped to spearhead a grant for $3,850. Within that grant, she helped to move recess or physical activity from 15 minutes up to 20 minutes. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that is 5 extra minutes to get physical activity with kids helps to endure a good health and wellness amongst them. She has also helped to spearhead, and this is what I really liked, twice a year they do a walk and bike day. When they did the walk day, it was 1.2 miles within the back neighborhood. And Mr. Denon, did you participate in this? You didn't? 575 students, turn out with that. That's impressive. So I'm not hoping, I know that she's going to bring this energy that she was involved with community as vice principal over to JJM. So with that, I welcome you on board. So let's make this official. So we have a motion by Mr. DeMonica. This is for the contract to approve the elementary school principal employment contract. So we have a motion for Mr. DeMonica, second by Mr. Denon. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Now we're going to move to a discussion and a vote to appoint Mrs. Malcolm as the elementary school principal. To a pleasure of the committee.
I make a motion to appoint.
Mr. Denon, second for discussion. Mr.
Yes,
Ferrelli?
please.
It's feel relevant.
It's like a pasta.
I've known Mrs. Malcolm for several years. She was my son's speech pathologist. I have the deepest respect for her. She's just a great lady, and I'm sure that she will bring everything that she has brought to this district over the last 20 years to the position of principal of JJM. Welcome.
I don't need a microphone. I just want to say that the sad part about this is that Mrs. Malcolm will no longer be the assistant principal at Community, and I know there are 580 kids plus staff there who will miss her. But I'm sure she'll do great at Cumberland Hill, and we look forward to working with you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fiorillo and Mr. Denon. I gotta say, Mrs. Malcolm, you still didn't beat the turnout that Mr. Damana had, with the shirts and that, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not a competition. Yeah, give me some time.
We would have gotten t-shirts.
We have a motion by Mr. Denon, a second by Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Welcome aboard, Mrs. Malcolm. I don't know if you want to say a couple words. If not, no problem.
I cried at open house.
Okay.
So
We'll save it for the next PTO meeting, which Kerry, I'll be at.
All right, I'll
Thank
do
you.
it.
Comments from the public? Anybody would like to stand up?
Come on, I can't cover that
Oh.
stuff. Just on
Shut
behalf of the PTO, we are thrilled. We couldn't be happier. They asked me just to say how incredibly psyched we are, for lack of a better word. We're thrilled. So thank you. We really enjoy you. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Adjourned?
Chairman, make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Second by Mr. Duffy. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.